Hey, Sooner football fans. This is your Sooner football fans podcast. You got Terry, Rob, and Caleb here. Boomer Rob.
Boomer Terry.
Boomer Caleb. Boomer. And we are coming at you from the Podcast Palace in Norman, Oklahoma, where?
We are not affiliated with the University of Oklahoma.
But we do have eligibility left. Remember, guys, to like us, subscribe to us on whatever you're listening to. If you're listening to us on Apple, is it Apple Music? iTunes, Apple Podcast.
Yeah.
Make sure and comment and rate us. Moves us up the rankings, and in case somebody's looking for a good Sooner podcast, it'll move us up so people can find us easier. But subscribe to us on Google Play, whatever you're listening to. It'll pop up on your phone. Go to our YouTube channel and subscribe to that, because on Thursdays we are at Louis on Campus Corner with Thursday Night at Louis, where we video, chat, and talk about Sooner football. Rob, real quick question. If you were out of town this Saturday, not in Norman, not in Waco, and you wanted to watch the game, what would you do?
I'd probably open my app, www.teambarfinder.com, and find some place that was showing the Sooners game.
There you go. That's exactly what you do. Team Barfinder app. Get it on Apple Store, Google Play. Check it out. Start your own.
What if I have an Android, though, Terry?
It would be at the Google Play Store.
Oh, okay.
So thought you were going to throw me off there, didn't you, Rob? But
it took me a minute to remember that type of phone.
No, but you can even set up your own watch party. Make sure and check with the bar first, and they will. Then you can add it to the app,
which I'm sure they'd be happy to do.
Oh yeah, yeah, and get Sooner fans out. Also, if you're traveling around or you just want to experience a great tailgating atmosphere, go to tailgateconnect.com. Dan can set you up all over the country with the best college tailgates, and he's jumped into the pros doing some pro tailgates now.
He's doing Rutgers this weekend, isn't he?
Yes.
I'd go to a Rutgers game.
It's going to be cold up there. He was in Minnesota last week.
Well, that's why they make coats and gloves and mittens and earmuffs.
Yeah. Yeah, well.
And girls, I mean.
And girls. And also, if you want to get smart about football, where do they go, Rob?
They follow us? Oh, no, you're talking about trench warfare, aren't you?
Yeah, Trench Warfare Report. JY and the Trench Warfare Report, Sooner Edition, www.trenchwarfarereport.com. Go to our Facebook page. We've been putting some sample videos out of JY's out on our Facebook page, Sooner football fans. Or just go to it and check it out. It's educational. It's funny. It's insightful.
And you know what? It's a lot of stuff that people don't normally see or even understand, for that matter. So,
yeah.
Most of the time everybody just watches the quarterback, the running back, or the receiver.
Our cheerleaders.
Well, yeah.
Dance
Stop
squad,
telling on me, Terry.
Palm Squad. What other squads, Caleb, do we watch?
Roughnecks. We watch Roughnecks.
But anyway, yeah. I mean, like Rob said, he breaks down the trenches. The big guys in there in the trenches, what they should have done, what they did do.
That makes so much sense.
Yeah. And but again, that is trenchwarfarereport.com. So the Sooners are set to take on the highly ranked, highly anticipated, highly respected Baylor 8-0, 9-0. What are they? 8-0, 9-0 now. Baylor Bears at the what river, Rob?
The Brazos.
Brazos. T-Row learnt us that last night. We couldn't think of it. The Brazos River.
Yeah, what were we calling it?
I think we called it the Waco River.
The Waco River. Yeah. Close enough.
That makes sense,
Yeah.
The Mississippi River, isn't it in Mississippi?
Sure, let's go with that.
But
and the Nile's in the Nile.
In the Nile, exactly. But I say that in jest because, as we all know, before we get into Baylor talk, and we want to talk about a lot of stuff tonight that has happened since the game Saturday night. But the College Football Playoff Committee, what the crap?
They got some splaining to do.
That's the sad part. They don't have no splaining to do. Does any of it make any sense to you, Caleb?
I That's why I don't pay attention to it, because all it does is make people angry. Like, this right here is just so stupid. Like, they're like national media even look people like, oh, it's going to be real hard for you to get in. If OU wins out, we're going to beat 3 ranked teams.
Right.
2 on the road, 2 on neutral sites overall. It'll be 4 total ranked teams we beat in our schedule. No one else has that on there. And then if Auburn loses to Georgia and to Alabama, Bama's best win will be against a 20 win, ranked 20 Auburn.
Yeah.
So our wins will be better than Bama's. Oregon's loss will be against a 20 ranked Auburn. Our Kansas State loss probably ranked ahead of them. So like all this is gonna work itself out, but people will overreact to this crap every time they come out. Like it's so dumb.
Well,
But it gets people talking. That's exactly what they want them to do. They want people to talk. But if OU wins out, like they are in good shape. But they have to win out. That's the thing now.
they have to win out, and they have to have some help.
And they also they'll look good. I mean, if they don't look good, they win out. That's not going to matter. But if they like look good. I mean, I don't know what help they need. Like Oregon's best win will be against Utah, which is a good win. But then after that, they'll have no ranked wins. We'll have 4 ranked wins.
Yeah, because Auburn by that time, if they lose 2 more games,
They'll be like behind Kansas State. So
Right.
our loss would be better than their loss. Every time, Dad, you don't turn your phone on silent.
Well, and somebody will bring that fact out.
Yeah,
you
when
know.
it gets to that bridge,
When it
that bridge
gets
crowd.
there.
Yeah, right
But
now
right-
they don't need to though.
Right now, they're definitely pumping
SEC.
SEC and
And here's my deal. Okay, somebody explain this to me. Okay, because it makes no sense. Alabama loses to
the number one
the
team in
number
nation.
1 team, and they drop 2 spots.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, the number 4 team, Penn State, gets beat by an undefeated Power 5 team that had no respect at, what were they, 13 last week?
They're like 19 or
Yeah.
17 or something like that.
Gets muggledy-wumped, okay? It wasn't a close
They came
game.
back, and it's just like Bama. Bama got whooped the whole game.
Yeah.
They came back at the end, make it look better than what it was. The exact same game, pretty much.
Yeah, if you watch the whole game, it wasn't even close. They were getting...
Like
and-
Bama made that game interesting at the end, just like Penn State did.
So, Penn State drops from 4 to 9, which makes no sense because they got beat by a low-ranked team.
Right.
And then the low-ranked team just gets put to number 8, who is a Power 5 team and undefeated. You put their schedules together and their strength of schedule against, guess who? Alabama.
Alabama's played no one.
Yeah,
The best wins who Duke. Like that's their best win, maybe. Like
in basketball, or was it?
that's like they played no one good. They're the
No
one of
one.
the worst strength schedules. Mm-hmm. Another thing with Baylor too. Baylor has beat 2 ranked teams. But they blew them out. They blew out Kansas State. They blew out Oklahoma State. That's 2 better wins that Minnesota has. That's 2 better wins that Alabama has. That's better wins than Oregon has. And then like they get punished for winning ugly, but Clemson they won ugly against North Carolina. That doesn't count. Like, it's just like there's so many things that they just pick and choose their arguments for different teams. They're not consistent. It's like that every year. But luckily for them, every year these teams beat each other up, and it's down to one. It falls out to one team.
Yeah, it falls out. But
I think I'm pretty much. I don't think Bama's going to get in because I said their only win they're going to have is going to be against a 4-loss Auburn. That's the only good win they're going to have, which is, I mean, that's a bad thing.
Well,
to
it's
have
not a given that they beat
Auburn.
Auburn.
I
right.
mean, like there's that one lady on ESPN saying, "Well, Auburn could win out and beat 2 top 5 teams and the Pac-12 champion. Like, who cares? They have 2 losses. They're not going to get in. Like, it's just.
I wouldn't have
a
a problem if Auburn got in if conference championships matter, but they don't. I mean, it's. I don't have any issue with any undefeated Power 5 team being in the top 4. Period. I don't have any issue with it. But for Georgia to be in there, over any other, any
because they lost
undefeated
at
team.
home to a totally terrible South Carolina.
I mean, I thought Minnesota should probably. Minnesota or Baylor, honestly. Like Baylor, they don't have a great win like Minnesota does, but I said their schedule's been a lot harder, and like they just don't look. They haven't won pretty, but who cares? Do they win? And
winning's winning.
Yeah, so I mean, like they win their way. That's how they win, and it's just this is what they do every time. Like it all happens. Everyone freaks out. Like I remember, like the first time we went, we were like 15 when it first came out, and we slowly moved our way up to end there. So I mean, like it's just like Penn. I mean, I think Minnesota's gonna lose this weekend, just because it's a huge letdown game. They're going on the road to Iowa, so that could be one team out of there. Then you got Georgia, Auburn. You don't know who's going to win that game. It's just, and then so much still has to happen still. So, but I heard something on the radio today saying if Baylor wins out, are they getting in? They're like, I don't think they're going to get in.
No, they're not going to let Baylor.
Baylor will get in if they win out.
Do you think so?
Yes, they'll get in. They can't leave an undefeated Power 5 team out.
I don't know.
Who?
Okay, Baylor. Okay, we've all talked about the money part of it.
If Baylor beats Oklahoma twice and Texas,
I agree. I'm not disagreeing with you.
There's
Caleb.
no way they can leave them out. I mean, it's just if they beat us this weekend, they'll be number 6 in the polls. They'll jump Oregon.
If it comes down to Alabama and Baylor getting in, who do you think they're going to put in there?
They're going to put Baylor because it's undefeated. That's a bad precedent to put in. That if you have an undefeated Power 5 team
to get in under a one-loss non-conference Power 5 team.
Yeah.
Well, they're going to say, listen, Baylor almost lost to Iowa State. Baylor almost lost to
they blew out Iowa State.
Oklahoma State.
Yeah. No,
they
blew out
almost
Oklahoma
lost
State.
to TCU.
Yeah.
They almost. Who'd they play 2 weeks ago? That was close.
TCU.
No, 2 weeks ago was.
2 weeks ago.
I can't remember.
I can't remember who it was 2 weeks ago.
Was it Kansas State? No,
they blew out Kansas.
Yeah.
They blew out Oklahoma State and Kansas State, 2 ranked teams.
I don't. I can't believe I'm talking about. That we're talking about Baylor should be getting some love.
There's no way that's going to happen. I mean, they can't do that because if they do that, then pretty much all the other conferences will pretty much throw a fit. The Big Ten's already thrown a fit about it. If you leave out undefeated Power 5, you just can't do that.
Yeah.
Well, I wouldn't say. They'll
try. But I mean, you just what are they supposed to do? They won their conference. They beat a blue blood twice to win their conference. Oklahoma.
I wouldn't say the percentage is 0. Would you?
No.
I'd say there's still a chance.
There's still a chance
that they get left out, even if they go undefeated.
Do you think it's more odds that they do make it though than they don't?
Well,
it's higher odds that they.
Probably, but not like you're thinking. You're thinking 100%. I'm thinking more like 60-40.
Yeah. Because let's face it comes down to money, and luckily, like we've all said before, I'm not ashamed of it. We're a blue blood program. The decal on the side of our helmet means something.
Yep.
It means tradition. It means money. It means
fans.
all that fans.
Yep.
And that's what if it comes down to we all know, wasn't it TCU 4 years ago?
It was at Baylor. It was Baylor. How funny would it be if that happened and they told Baylor the reason why you didn't make it because of one data point, and then they put Bama in over them because they didn't have that extra data point.
Yeah.
That's why they can't do it because they already told Baylor you didn't get in because of one data point. Then all of a sudden 4 years later they do the exact same thing opposite.
But But see, that's just it. There's no rules to it. And they've said that it's fluid by each different committee.
That's right.
And everything else, so they can go.
If that happens, that will cause 18 playoff. Honestly, that might be the best thing to happen because Big 12 won't accept it. Any other conference won't accept it because they realize we can have an undefeated team.
SEC will accept.
They're the only ones that will accept it because they don't care. They're the only ones that they had a poll out asking each conference, would you have a Big 12? Everyone plays everyone to decide the conference champion, and every conference agreed to it. Said yeah. Majority said yeah, we want to do that, except for who? The SEC. Only one coach said yes.
They're numbing you up for it right now with those polls that just came out.
Yeah.
Because Baylor's undefeated, Power 5 conference, and they are several spots behind
a bunch of
one-loss teams.
If they beat Oklahoma this week, they'll be number 6 next week. They'll be number 6 in the country. Just like how Minnesota got no love.
Minnesota,
and they jumped 9 spots, number 7.
But they jumped to number 8. They're number 8 this week.
Yeah, but they jumped 9 spots. Baylor can jump 9. They won't jump 9 spots.
But you monkey punched the number 4 ranked team in the country, and you're undefeated. There's no reason why they should not be 4th right now.
I mean, Baylor will still be behind Georgia, Bama, but then they'll play Texas next week, who's also ranked. They'll probably put ahead of someone else, and then they'll play OU again in the Big 12 championship, who will be ranked still in top 15. They'll beat, and then Bama will just be sitting there. So I mean,
listen, if we play again another bad game and we get beat by Baylor.
Oh, yeah, we're done.
We shouldn't be in the top 15.
Yeah.
Or the top 20 for that matter.
I mean, Texas is number 16, so we'll be ahead of Texas.
Yeah. All I care about, like Mo Pappy used to say, we don't like it, but the worst you can beat anybody is by 1 point. That's all that really matters. Everything else is just icing on the cake, it's kind of like what Lincoln said last night. Hey, it's hard to go undefeated. It's hard to play.
It's tough.
A win's a win. And unfortunately, we're in a system that requires you to look good when you win.
Right, that's back to the BCS right now.
We're
in a beauty
exactly.
contest. We're having beauty contest. We have to look impressive. Like if we go out there this week and beat the living crap out of Baylor, and honestly,
we'll get that love back.
We get that love back, and honestly, it might be best for Texas to beat Baylor next week because Texas has a lot of love right now. Like they're 16 right now. You know why? Because that Texas helps LSU too. They'll keep Texas propped up to help LSU. So
and what's frustrating is that the committee doesn't think fans and forget the media, fans aren't smart enough to figure that out.
I mean, it's obvious. I mean, there's no reason why Texas should be ranked like 16 or what the heck they are right now. But I mean, if we beat Baylor this week, we probably want Texas to win out because Texas will probably rank in the top 10. Honestly, if they win out, when we play them in the Big 12 championship, because they want that LSU resume to look even stronger and stronger, just in case they lose Georgia. But they want. That's what if we beat Baylor, we want probably again. Last week we said we want Texas to lose out. Now it just changes. Now we want Texas to win out because they'll prop them up more than anyone else.
And just so everybody knows, at least for me, I'm not being a hypocrite about it. I didn't think that we should have played in the national championship against LSU.
We lost to Kansas State.
We lost to Kansas State in our championship game. I thought we're done. There's no way the BCS is going to.
Weren't we still like the number 1 seed still? Too?
Yes, we were still ranked number 1, and we got. I mean, Kansas State put a thumping on
Darren
us.
Sproles.
Oh,
pretty much
Darren
Sproles
wide open on us. Yeah.
Who else was in contention that year? Because I was like a kid pretty much when that happened.
It was Oklahoma. I can't remember. I think
USC.
No, USC was the year after because that's
but USC was in contention that year, and USC went berserk when we got in.
Yeah.
But
they felt
we
like
shouldn't have. We
we
lost the game before the last game of the season. We lost, and we were still ranked.
Yeah. 35-7.
Yeah, it was horrible.
They took us apart,
and so we had no business being it. If we lose another game, my point, and I like what Herbstreit has said it last year. The problem with this, and Sam Mays has talked about it. The problem with Championship November, Sam said it the other day on his show. The problem with Championship November is championships don't matter.
Yeah.
If let's not call it Championship November because it doesn't matter whether you win your conference. If you win it and you got one loss, there's no guarantee you get anything but a bowl game.
I mean, that's why it made no sense from the get-go when it's 14 playoffs with 5 Power 5 conference, like 5 of them.
Yeah.
So I mean.
They're
doing it just right now, just like keep it BCS, make the games more important, make every game matter, which it does. But every game will still matter if it's 6. You'll have every Power 5 conference and one at large. Like that's how it should be.
Right.
But that's not going to happen. Probably 2 more years. I mean, if a team goes undefeated, like Baylor goes undefeated, gets left out, that could up it because
that's what we really need to happen. Somebody other than Baylor.
Someone go undefeated and then everyone just gets
a Power 5 team. Like a Minnesota. Say they go undefeated and they don't move them over Bama and Georgia.
Which they might not.
They might not.
How funny it'd be if they did pull like Oklahoma, like when they lost Kansas State, they beat Ohio State undefeated, and Ohio State gets in above them.
Yeah.
Well, that would be a good reason to have an 8 team, because for the most part, you got the same 4 teams every year competing for those.
Right.
It's Alabama, Georgia, Clemson, Ohio State, or Oklahoma. Some variation there. Add one, take one away, whatever. But if we go to an 8-team playoff, it'll still roughly be the same top 8 teams, but you'll have a team like Utah or Minnesota maybe sneak up in there, or Baylor
that deserve it. I mean, they deserve their or even UCF. UCF a couple of years ago deserved the opportunity if there was an 8-team playoff. They could have been one of those 8 teams and said, "Hey, you."
Well, even if there was 18 playoff, they still wouldn't have made it because they're number 9.
They're 9. I know that's what I'm saying.
They still wouldn't have made it.
For the most part, year after year, you'll still have those. Probably the top. Even if you had go to an 8, you'd still have the top. Or this 8 or 9 teams getting in those 8 spots. It'd be the usual suspects every year.
Right.
The Blue Bloods, really.
And we would still be having this conversation with an 8-team playoff because. You're still fighting for that jockeying spot, in the sixth, seventh, and eighth seed. You're still sitting here going, if we don't win our conference, we still have to be strong enough to be one of those three. But if you're a Power 5 conference, it should be automatic. You're in a playoff if you win your conference. Right now, it's not fair. It's not even. I mean, the Big Ten could be left out of it with the conference, and the Big 12, both.
No. Ohio State's going to make it.
Well, yeah.
I mean, the Pac-12. I mean, not Big Ten. I'm talking about the Pac-12.
I mean, what if they have a letdown game and lose to Purdue?
Yeah. But, I mean, the Pac-12 and the Big 12 could be left out of it. Conference champion.
I mean, it's been the last 2 years. Big 10 and Pac-12 have been last 2 years. So, I mean, and then if Clemson loses, they're done. So, because, they have no good wins at all. So, I mean, it's just.
But who's going to be? I mean, good Lord.
That's what I'm saying. If they lose, they'll be they're done, though, if they lose. Because they can't redeem themselves you can at least redeem themselves with good wins. Oregon redeem themselves with good wins. But, Clemson.
They have no one.
So, I mean, their best win would be against A&M, who's one of the worst teams in the SEC West.
So really, teams like Baylor and Minnesota, their non-conference has got to be stellar because they're not going to get in. For instance, like a team with a helmet logo like Alabama, Oklahoma.
Right.
They're not going to make it. They need a quality win. They need an LSU win in their preseason, or UCLA when they were good, or somebody like that.
Because they got a win over Stephen F. Austin.
Ooh, big one there.
University of Texas, San Antonio.
Then they have Rice.
Yeah. Who Rice I don't think's won a game this year, have they?
They've been close. I don't know if they've won, but they almost beat Army. I think they almost beat Baylor. They almost beat a lot of teams.
Yeah. They 21-13 is what Baylor beat them by. West Virginia is who Baylor had trouble with 2 weeks ago, 17-14.
Oh yeah, that was on Thursday night.
Yeah. And then they beat Tech 33-30 in double overtime. They had 2 overtime games. So
is it right or fair that a team like Oklahoma, because of the helmet logo, or Alabama, automatically gets the they're in?
It's right when it's us.
Well, have we earned it? Have we earned that right? Being a championship blue blood program.
I think I've told you, me and Blinken have sat around and talked about this before. We talked about it again last weekend at the tailgate. There's no way Oklahoma ever gets left out of a playoff if they go undefeated. A one loss, depending on that loss, but Oklahoma has always historically had that one. They have been scheduling a strong non-conference. It's not our fault that UCLA sucks, but UCLA could end up winning the Pac-12.
If UCLA wins this week against Utah, they control their own destiny.
Yeah.
Which, it'd be hilarious.
But, it's not our, well, look, we're scheduled to play Alabama and Clemson when me and you were 70 years old.
Right. Well, and if you go back a few years, we had Ohio State here. We went there. Tennessee.
We got Tennessee next year. We've got Nebraska coming up in a couple of years.
Hey, and Army ain't no gimme.
Yeah, Army. Who else is some of our non-conference that we've got coming up? We were supposed to play LSU this year. Man, that'd have been a dogfight this year.
That would decide everything pretty much right there.
Yeah. But the Oklahoma historically has had a solid team, like a Houston this year, and and a Houston. They always have a Ned in the first reader, a solid middle schooler, and a Power 5. They always have, and that's, I think, a plus for Oklahoma. It's always a plus. You're always going to have that marquee game. Next, it's going to be Tennessee next year. And again, it's not Oklahoma's fault that Tennessee sucks. It's not Oklahoma's fault that they scheduled these games 10 years ago.
Well, Tennessee they scheduled 2 years ago, so they kind of knew Tennessee's going to be terrible. But
it's still a
SEC team though. So
So
it's like I said, it's all going to work stuff out. Right now though, it's just everyone freaking out. Mostly just media people freaking out, this team has no chance. Big 12's out of it. It's no, they're not out of it. They've been in worse spots than this a lot of times. So
well, the media, it's because the media doesn't want Oklahoma in it. That's my opinion. They don't
think they care, really, honestly.
Well, the problem is we haven't been playing like we definitely deserve to.
I think right now people are more worried about how we're looking right now. I know a lot of people think we're going to lose again. So I mean,
I mean, 6 quarters of football this year have been terrible.
Yeah.
Well, I'd say 4 at least. I mean, Lincoln said it last night at the at Rudy's. Rob it was one of the best halves of football. He said that he's had both sides of the ball since he's been here.
Yeah, in the first half we're dominant. I mean, we did everything we wanted pretty much.
And then, how do you let it fall apart? Where does it fall apart at? Is it play? He's taking his part in play calling. Man, I've seen enough stuff this week about Grinch and his play calling that you see these plays where it's one-on-one tackles. That the stunts that he ran worked. It puts you one-on-one with the guy with the ball, and you miss the tackle.
Honestly, I thought it's just kind of like the fans were. They thought the game was probably over. The players probably thought the game was over. So, I mean, that's probably what it was. They thought the game was over. They're up by 21 going to the fourth quarter. Well, we have this. Iowa State's a proud team that won't give up. Next thing you know,
2 turnovers.
And there's a ball game.
Right. Yeah, I mean, we're a lot better than Iowa State. I mean, we just are.
Yeah.
Did we play like it in the second half? No. I think Caleb's right. I think we were a little bit, hey, we got this.
Yeah.
We can just, And Iowa State's like, no, the hell you can't.
Yeah, no, you ain't got it. Well, let's talk about that. Let's talk about the fans. First one that I saw was Rufus Alexander just ripped the fans on Twitter. And I don't have a problem with it. I mean, and he's right. We complain all year long. Oh, 11 o'clock games. Well, now you got a night game, and everybody's leaving at halftime. National TV. Your team's in a game, and you leave. Where's that support? Where is that crowd support? And I will admit, okay, now, mine as a fan, now I was hesitant with leaving. But we go back out to the tailgate because we have people that watch the tailgate for us. We go out there, and people come to the tailgate afterwards to hang out, so we're kind of, quote, hosting, doing double duty.
But you're also cleaning up so you don't stay out
there we're starting to get stuff. But we got TVs out there, and when we were fixing it, I was like, oh, man, I don't know if we got this or not to Teresa, and she's like, well, if you want to stand, I was like, oh, well, let's go ahead and go out there because I knew people were out there. So, and I wish I had stayed. Last year for the Army game and the OSU game, I was there until the end of the game screaming and hollering and everything else. But halftime, that stadium was emptying and out.
Yeah.
And by the time we left, it was half empty. Probably not that much.
You see the interception. The places like the lower bowl is not even full.
Yeah.
When the game-winning interception. I mean, like it's just.
And then people get mad. Well, it's not the fans' fault. Well, wait a second. Okay, if you're expecting the team
to show up
and then by God, we should show up for 4 quarters. And
we should, but I agree, it is not the fans' fault.
It's not the fans' fault, but
I'm going to say this, okay? Gaylord Family Oklahoma Memorial Stadium, the Palace on the Prairie, is not a snake pit, guys.
It is it is what it needs to be.
Okay, do you know what people refer back to as, oh my God, do you remember a Texas Tech game, 10 years ago?
Yeah. Well, that game was crazy.
It was. But it's never, why is it not like that all the time?
The Army game, it's an Army game where it needs to be, wherever it needs to be loud, that place is loud.
Yeah.
But it's just that's how every kind of blue blood is. Alabama's the same way too. Their place isn't crazy hostile.
People aren't afraid to
Ohio
come to
State's
Oklahoma
place isn't crazy hostile.
Here's the reason, all right? Here's the reason that we're not as hostile. And tell me if you agree or disagree with this.
I know what you're going to say.
Well, the west side of the stands are all people that have held those tickets for 50 years, and they are not, even if they did get up and holler and scream, you're not going to hear them.
Yeah.
I'm sorry, they're old. They're old. That's what happens when you're a blue blood program that carries fans that have season tickets in their family for 100 years.
Right.
I know people there that tickets have been in their family for over 50 years.
And they get upset if you're standing up in front of them.
They do.
And because I've sat in that section before.
Typically, we've got one section that's loud, and that's the student section or the east side of the stadium.
The east side of the stadium.
Well, I mean, actually, every blue blood, like I said, Ohio State, plus we're also like smart fans too, because we know what's good and what's not good. Like Ohio State's in it too. Whenever we get behind, we're quiet. I guess I know Ohio State the same way. Bam was the same way this weekend. Only places that really like that is LSU, really, because LSU they're drinking all day and they're crazy. But I mean, like if you're like even Michigan, the big house, that place doesn't get that loud. Like it's huge, it's crazy, but it doesn't get like crazy loud. But like I said, like even like if
Notre Dame, I've heard the same thing.
Yeah,
about
same thing. Because like they just know what they're watching, and then it's normally the underdogs who normally aren't in that situation. Those are the ones that get super crazy loud because this is the biggest game of the year for them. We have a biggest game of the year, like that's like a casual game for us, pretty much. We have it every year.
And Rob, to your point too, those families that have had that in there, they, and I know we're in 2019 now. It's this is old stuff, but I remember my first games at OU, that damn stadium emptied at halftime because we were up 56 to 10 on just about everybody we played.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Everybody went across the street to O'Connell's and stayed there. And those of you as old as we are and older, no, I ain't lying. That's what happened. Oklahoma was beating everybody.
Yeah, but we sell beer in the stadium now.
Yeah.
That's why we're selling beer in the stadium. It's because they want what happened this weekend won't happen.
Yeah.
I mean, it's just like I said, I understand it because we're up so much. But if you listen to Lincoln's press conference, like they asked him, he says, "Yeah, it's still on us. We should still execute. But you tell us when that stadium's rocking, do we feel it?" He goes, "Yeah, we do."
Sure, they do. Absolutely.
And then when it leaves and it's not as loud, do they feel it? Yeah, we do. Like you hear his voice, like he was not happy about it. But you can't say that because you can't call it your fans, especially after you win and everything.
Well, you know what? This is the part of what a fan can do to help the team. You want to wear your red underwear because you think it helps the team. Well, listen, it doesn't. It doesn't matter what you wear. Doesn't matter what you eat for breakfast. It doesn't help the team. But if you're in the stands, all 88,000 of us,
all the time,
and you're all yelling, that helps the team.
As long as you ate your right thing for breakfast, wore your lucky shirt.
I don't care if you wore purple.
Yeah, but I mean, it's just all. I mean, I get it why people leave because they want to get past everything, but then again, you can't complain about early games anymore or stuff like that because they had the night game, they won that game, so we can have that atmosphere, and the atmosphere is not there.
Here's my thing, and it's not popular. If you don't want to mess with crowds and all that business, don't go. Stay home. I mean, it's your ticket. You got a right to leave whenever you want to.
Right. But like Caleb said, and like Rufus said, then don't complain about 11 o'clock game.
Right.
Don't be out here.
You expect a 5-star athlete on the field? Be a 5-star fan.
Ooh, Rob. Man. Rob just called everybody out. He slammed down the gauntlet.
It's just,
I'm saying I don't like crowds either. I don't like crowds. But I don't have season tickets either.
Yeah.
It's crazy, though. I mean, it's like, it's one of the few times I've ever seen Lincoln actually, like, disappointed in a press conference without their win kind of like that.
Yeah, I mean, and I get, he on the coach's show yesterday, he understands people. He understands the fans' frustration because he's frustrated with it.
Yeah.
He wasn't happy with the 1-point win, but on the other end of it, he's like, man, that's a good. You really think about it, it's not coach speak. They've lost 3 or 4 games. Iowa State has by a total of 11 points.
Yeah.
Right.
A total of 11 points.
They're solid. There's no doubt about that.
And what fans are frustrated with was that we were manhandling them.
Had them beat down.
Had them beat and let it go.
Yep.
And, we're not going to fire Lincoln Riley. We're not going to fire Alex Grinch. We're not going to,
It wasn't the fans' fault that they let them come back.
Yeah. I mean, let's face it. I'm still drinking the Kool-Aid because I committed to the Kool-Aid. And I still think this is a much, much, much improved defense. And yeah, they've had some issues the last couple of weeks, but these are the same kids that were the worst defense in the country last year.
Yep.
And they're not the worst defense in the country this year. You can't expect any more than that out of them. We don't have Brian Bott. We don't have the defenses like we did in the 80s and the early 2000s yet. And I saw, we had a commit today. People are like, oh, great, another offensive commit. What about defense? Don't be glad we're still getting top commits.
Yeah.
Top players across the board. They will come. The defense is getting better. It is better. But get off these, and stop tweeting players, for crying out loud. But anyway,
yeah, that's a problem.
But I said I was worried about Iowa. Iowa State worries me every year, and Baylor worries me every year. Ever since Baylor got good, that's why I'm worried about this weekend. I don't care if Baylor is undefeated; it would still bother me.
So, I think that we're a good team, and we know that we're good. We know there's potential here for us to play for a national title, I think.
Mm-hmm.
So it's going to be a big game. I think that the Sooners are going to get up and play for this guy. I think we're going to be impressed with our Sooners this week.
I think so. I mean,
I hope.
Yeah. There went from confidence to
I'm a little bipolar because I was like, oh, no, we're going to get dog beat by Baylor. And I'm like, no, we're not. We're going to step up and we're going to play and we're going to pound them into there.
I hope.
Then the next minute, we're going to be like, oh, geez, I don't know.
Here's the thing. I mean, here's what bothers me about this weekend. Okay, not it's the game of the week. Okay, not that game day is going to be there, but game day is going to be there. It's Baylor. This is our chance. You know what I mean? This is us. We're undefeated. We are the kings of the Big 12 right now.
All the pressure's on them,
or all the excitement and not pressure, but the what's the word I'm looking for? The want to prove is on their side, and it's on Oklahoma's too.
I think Oklahoma's. I think it's just as much.
Yeah, that's my other side of it. Oklahoma is like, you know what, bitches, this is our conference.
It's our conference, and also, they had a chance to make a statement last week. They're making a statement. They let it slide. I think this is a game they can go out there and prove it. This is ours. We're still a national championship contender. They go out there and beat the crap out of them. Now I don't know what's going to happen. Last week I was pretty confident they're going to beat the crap out of Iowa State. They were for 3 quarters, and then it disappeared.
Then this issue is your fault.
Well, yeah, because I was right for 3 quarters, and then.
Well, you're just like JY. Then JY, talked about after the Kansas State game. He goes, I knew there was something up when I wasn't worried about that game. He goes, I was not worried about Kansas State, and he goes, and we go out there and throw that. So look what you did, Caleb.
Were you worried watching the game?
Or what?
We were. I think.
Yes, I was worried. I mean, when we were up 21, when they scored in the fourth quarter,
I had to worry then. But I'm saying, for going in the third quarter, I wasn't worried until it had to be worried. But that fourth quarter shouldn't have happened. We just like the Kansas State game. That third quarter, everything could have went wrong. It's just if we can't have those one bad quarters, we win those games convincingly. I don't know how I feel about Baylor, honestly. I think we should. I think we're a better team than them. We should win by double digits, but I just don't know I'm not sure what team's going to show up anymore.
Yeah,
if we play our best game, we beat this. If we play our best game, they play their best game. We beat them by 14.
What's our best game
points.
so far this year?
Texas.
Okay, and this team
and actually not Texas. Our offense didn't play good against Texas.
Yeah.
The defense did though.
Yeah.
And that's the one I want.
Yeah.
The defense. UCLA was a really good game.
Baylor
West Virginia was really good.
Baylor's given up a buttload of sacks, so I want to see another 9 sack.
Yeah, we haven't had any sacks, have we, since
Texas?
Since Texas.
Bunch
of tackles
he needs
for
to
loss.
throw it to CeeDee like 50,000 times.
Apparently, they've come. I think some of the players getting frustrated.
That CeeDee's getting all the balls.
All the balls, yeah, but it's understandable how good he is. But
and it's again. Let's talk about Jalen, okay, and CeeDee. We talked about it on the last podcast. It was funny earlier in the year. He was completing passes to 12 different receivers, and we were like, oh, and then CeeDee is getting 2 catches, and then one time CeeDee has 6 catches. Well, apparently they had, CeeDee said something to him. Now, the fan base was complaining. We as fans, including myself and Rob, we talked about him, and he's not getting it to CeeDee. Well, now he's pretty much throwing it only to CeeDee. Or maybe he's not. I mean, I haven't really looked. It's just CeeDee has all the big plays.
Well, let me ask you this. Is CeeDee the first read? because we've been saying that he doesn't make it past his first read a lot. So if CeeDee's first read and he's open, he throws it. If he's not, then Jalen pulls the ball down and runs. I mean, what do you think about that?
I'm not sure, honestly. I mean,
I think CeeDee sometimes is the first read, those quick outs or those onesies over there. But I think he's probably he's in the. I think he's in the top.
I think it's just like this guy's so good, no one can tackle him. Where is he at? Get him the ball, good things happen. He did when he had Judy last year. He's the same thing with Judy. You have someone that good.
Well, yeah.
If you have someone that good, sometimes you force the ball to him because any time they can go off.
And if you want the ball more, then when you get the ball, you need to take 175 to the house and break 5 tackles like CeeDee does. Yeah. I mean, it's not brain science or rocket surgery.
Right.
Am I right?
You're right.
So who else catches the last game, Dad?
I'm trying to pull it up so y'all keep.
I always perform rocket surgery before I go to brain science. So, just saying. What about Kennedy Brooks, though?
People get more touches.
And why isn't Tremondre, isn't that his name? Tremondre?
He's only had one carry last 2 games.
He was amazing the first.
Well, he's going to get more now because Sermon's out, so he's going to get more playing time.
And you know what else is? And I'm not, I'm not griping, but it just doesn't seem like the play calling in the last 2 or 3 games has been as good as it was in the first, 3 or 4 or 5 games. Am I right or wrong about that?
I think it's just that goes with the offensive line. He's in a way, especially now we got who's hurt this game?
Adrian Ely, but yeah. I think he's back.
Yeah, so I mean, I think it's just offensive line that normally our offensive line gets better throughout the year, and this year there's one time it might be getting worse throughout the year, honestly.
Okay, so maybe the play calling is going with what
works good with the offensive line, what he trusts with. If you you have a weakness and you can't really trust it, you're going to go with what you can trust.
Yeah, no, you're right. That's a good point, and maybe that's what's happening. But we're playing a lot better defensive lines now than we were.
And we're playing against good defenses now.
Well, I don't know if that's true at all.
I mean,
UCLA's defensive line was pretty legit.
I mean, they're like athletes. I mean, Kansas State has good defense.
Yeah,
Iowa State is one of the best defenses in the country, but so is Baylor. So I mean,
well, aren't they soft in the secondary?
Secondary, but they're good at everything else. So
then we better be throwing on them. And you know what? If you throw on a team, it opens up the run. It just does.
I know they're good at getting pressure. I know they're good at sacks, stuff like that. So if our offensive line isn't playing good, that could be a problem.
Well,
all right, Dad, you got pulled up?
Yeah, we had 18 catches. CeeDee had 8 of them. Braden Willis had 1. Jeremiah Hall had 3. Lee Morris 1. A.D. Miller 1. Charleston Rambo 2. Bridges 1. Kennedy Brooks 1.
Pretty much Lamb and fullbacks and tight ends, pretty much.
Yeah, no Hazelwood, no Trey Jim Bridges.
Hazelwood hadn't catching 2 or 3 games. Bridges hadn't catching a while either.
Yeah, Bridges. They said that's the first.
Charleston Rambo.
Yeah, Rambo had 2.
2.
Oh, come on. Yeah, it's. I don't know. I wonder how many catches somebody had last year. Who is getting if anybody.
I mean, it's Hollywood and CeeDee, pretty much. Hollywood, CeeDee, and Calcaterra. I mean, those are 3 guys, really.
Well, Calcaterra apparently ain't gonna play no more.
Well, he's out for the year. Like he ruled man and Sermon out for the year.
Yeah, but.
Well, apparently he's still in concussion protocol. It must have been bad.
Yeah.
So. I think he keeps getting concussions.
Well, you can't really practice in the protocol. You can't. I don't think they'll let you practice or anything.
And I think what's happening is when he's coming out of the protocol, he's getting another concussion. If you're getting concussion after concussion, you don't need to be.
League One knocks out for the year. Like if he was up for the year, but he hasn't. He knocks out Sermon and Man. I mean, so it can't be that. I mean, I don't know if he'll be back, but. He hasn't ruled him out for the rest of the year. I guess Caleb Kelly might be back this next game too.
Yeah,
possibly.
Possibly, and they were talking about playing, or the theory is out there is to play him this game, set him for TCU, and then play him in because he can play 4 games.
Yeah.
Then you can play him in Oklahoma State, the Big 12, and bowl game. So,
yeah, I mean, we talked about it. Obviously he's not, ready to hit the field right now, or he'd be out there, I think.
yeah.
So,
Well, I mean, there's no way he's in condition to play. I know that these guys are elite athletes, but there's no way he's conditioned to play four quarters of football.
Right.
Right now. I mean, I think he's probably usable in certain situations, and I think that's probably what we'll see is him, out there in certain situations.
I think we could really use him.
I don't know what to think about this off. I think what we've said, it's just different. When Lincoln talks about it, somebody threw the question out, the fan question out, it was basically, it's just Jalen running the ball too much, and Lincoln was like, he's a pretty good runner. If it was an issue, he wouldn't be out there. You know what I mean? I don't think he'd be out there. I mean, if they're – and how can we complain – and Caleb, your point's taken, some of the receivers again. But I think a lot of these receivers understand, especially these young ones, this ain't the offense that Lincoln builds. It's just he's got this quarterback, and let's face it, we've never had – again, we said it at the beginning of the year and all through the summer. We've never had a 6'2", 225-pound quarterback at Oklahoma that could run. And he's going to run over people. Well, now we got one out there running over people, and we're going, wait a minute. He's throwing the ball. He's running the ball too soon. He's not giving it. All those things I think are right. I think he is pulling it down and running it too much. Sometimes I think he sees a crease and says, instead of giving it, I can get it, but it's working.
Well, it is. However, let me say this. So sometimes he pulls it down and takes off because the hole is there,
right?
And he gets 2 or 3, 5, maybe 10. There are some times where CeeDee's coming open or Charleston Rambo's coming open, then all he has to do is take 2 steps up, hit that receiver, and it's a touchdown.
Yeah. Oh, I agree.
So
you can complain, but then and then people, here's my thing, well, that's why Tua beat him out. Well, again, he only lost 2 games at Alabama, for crying out loud.
Right.
Or it's not going to work against the big boys.
Tua,
why?
It worked against Georgia last year. Tua is going to be a top 5 draft pick this next year. Maybe go number 1. They said him or Burrow or that young guy. So I don't know. I just think it's obvious. I don't think Jalen trusts his offensive line. I don't think Lincoln does. I think parents, they think they have a quick read. Do a quick read. If it's not open, take off because you get positive yards. Because I don't think they want him to sit back there.
But he hasn't made even when he's thrown the ball, he hasn't made some good reads here recently. He's almost thrown some interceptions.
He just looks like I think he just wants to get the ball out of his hands.
Yeah,
just
and
get the playmakers. But he's just trying to force it.
We've laughed about we're sitting there early on in the game going, throw it, he's open, and then later on in the game we're just like, just run it, don't throw it, because he's throwing it.
Well, yeah, he's been a little sketchy, but he's been great as well. So, it's hard to complain about a guy that's leading in a whole bunch of stats.
Yeah.
He's the number 1 rushing quarterback in the country, isn't he?
Yeah.
Yeah, he's the.
That may be a problem.
But why?
Because if he's rushing for 8 yards a pop, that's okay. But he could be hitting Charles Rambo or anybody else for a touchdown.
But again, it's not like his. We're still the most efficient passing team in the country. We're still the number 1 passing team, or the top. We're still the number 1 offense in the country. We're still in the top. Like I said, we're in the top 3 categories of every total offensive.
I agree, and he's doing a great job. But how much of that is CeeDee taking a 5-yard out to the house?
True.
We've got some playmakers, and we need to get the ball to him. No doubt about that. And so I'm just saying, I think I would prefer him to step up, hit a receiver rather than take off for 8.
Yeah,
that's just me.
Oh yeah,
It's only positive yards. I would touch on preferably though. It's just like as long as it's like a sack, throw an interception, I'm fine. Just don't do those 2 things. I prefer.
Okay. I would agree with that.
Yeah, it's just because that happened last game. He just did dumb throws that he should have 4 or 5 picks that game, but luckily he got bailed out on a couple of them.
If they would have picked off everyone that they touched, they would have beat us easily.
Yeah. But then vice versa we did the same thing too. We got one as well. It was very annoying.
Yeah, and that's another thing. All right. Is there too much emphasis by this coaching staff on turnovers, and that's why we're starting to have these issues defensively?
I don't think we're getting pressure on the quarterback anymore. I think that's the issue. I think it all started with pressure. I don't think we're getting pressure anymore.
Well, I mean, hear me out on this, because we read the stats for the Iowa State game, and we were getting 3 and outs. Okay, we were getting off the field, which in Oklahoma right now, in my opinion, is as good as a turnover. Okay, because we couldn't get off the field if they were filling it with water last year. Right. And we had our swim team out there. We couldn't get off the field. We were, but the emphasis is always, we got to get turnovers. And I'm sorry, I mean, 3 turnovers a game is your goal. Okay, who gets 3 turnovers a game? Does anybody do that?
No.
Okay.
No, but it's a good goal to have.
It's a good goal, but my point is now the emphasis, hey, we're winning games up until Kansas State. We're winning games, and we're not getting any turnovers. We need to get turnovers because there's going to come a time when turnovers is going to help us. Well, yeah, I mean that's true in every point, but I'm worried that they put too much emphasis on it, and they're still trying to drill it, and now you got guys thinking about turnovers instead of thinking about playing. You know what I mean? We got to get turnovers now. But I'm with you. Or Rob, I love your statement. You're a cornerback for a reason. You're
because they can't catch.
But when they're hitting in your hands, you gotta
catch it. And they gotta pull one of them in. Put some stick 'em on there.
Yeah. Well, anymore you don't need stick 'em. Man, them gloves, you can stick it to a wall. Hang yourself from a wall with those freaking Nike gloves. They're ridiculous.
Well, they've definitely dropped more interceptions than they've caught.
Yeah.
So they're there. They're just not making the plays.
Yeah, I think so. Which is a big change from last year.
Yeah.
Wouldn't you agree?
Yeah.
Well, at least we're there. At least we're making plays on the ball. We just aren't catching it.
But see, and that's another thing. Though. That's what bothered me about this week. This is the first time I've seen guys running wide open against Oklahoma this year. They've been contested. They had tight ends open all day long.
Yeah.
I mean, if he'd thrown it to the tight end, we'd lost that game.
Well, you couldn't see him. I think Galmore was right in his face.
Yeah.
I think it all comes down to getting pressure. If we get pressure, that forces bad passes. That forces everything. I think that's not, last time our defense was great. We got pressure.
Listen, last year, our defensive backfield was a lot like, what was that movie with Tom Cruise when he flew the airplanes?
Top Gun.
You remember what that statement they said? Which way to go? Which way to who go?
Yeah.
That was our defensive backs last year.
We're confused all the time. We never knew where we're at. At least this year we're structured at least.
Yeah. Buki standing in the middle of the field, 2 wide receivers running behind him, and he ain't covering either one of them.
Yeah.
This year, at least we are there.
Yeah.
So, I think big improvement there.
Well, and like we've always, we all said last year, at least try to blitz at least try some stunts, because so many times we were, 3-man rush or a 4-man rush, and now we got guys stunting like crazy. That's all we do is stunt. Watch the defensive line and see how many times it's just a straight bull rush.
Yeah,
it doesn't happen that often. Okay, most of the times you got one guy swinging under the other guy, and you got a linebacker, and and that's the thing again on JY stuff, because I never played and never really paid attention to a single gap defense, okay, because I played in high school. Again, I'm not trying to compare myself. I was a high school football player. We played a 2-gap system, and my job was to keep the offensive lineman off the linebacker.
Right.
Okay.
Yeah.
Come off the block if I could. My job was to block him and come off and fill the hole and make the tackle, but by God, you don't let the tackle get on and let him fill that gap.
The linebacker run free.
But if you watch JY stuff on how this defense works, the defensive line, the single gap, how they're basically, if they're stunting to the left, their job is to fill those gaps and get up those gaps. But then the linebackers are coming, if they're going to the left, the linebackers are filling the backside. Go watch JY stuff if you want to understand what's going on, because it makes sense. I mean, the whole defense isn't shifting one way. It's the defensive line is, and they're going into those gaps, getting back to disrupt, and then your linebackers are generally backfilling those backside gaps.
Right.
So it's really interesting when he slows it down like that. It's really interesting to watch. But I like this style of defense. I really do. I like this attack style.
Yeah, but
Aggressive.
it seems like, though, the aggression has been dialed back in the last 2 games. I need him to go ahead and turn that up a little bit.
Yeah.
Well, Kansas State game, they use it against us. They use our aggression against us.
And we didn't have anything to counter it.
Yeah. And then this last game, like I said, like we were good for 3 quarters, and then we just fell apart in the fourth quarter. Like I don't know what happened in the fourth quarter. No one knows. Like you ask Rufus, like ask everyone, like what happened. They played great for 3 quarters, and that fourth quarter just something happened.
Well, I mean, again, they haven't played that much in the fourth quarter because our offense turned it over twice.
Right.
Okay, so in really really bad situations.
That's another thing too. Like these last 2 games, they weren't playing as many snaps. The last 2 games, they were playing a lot of snaps.
Right, and that's
teams keep them on the field, stuff like that.
And lest we forget, we did have a red zone stop in the fourth quarter. I mean, they went for it on 4th and down and did not 4th and goal or 4th down, didn't convert it. We got off the field, turned around and threw a freaking interception.
Yeah, bad one. Yeah, when we should have been running the ball.
Yeah, so let's not crucify Speed D so quick because they did their job. They didn't allow a score, and I didn't realize that there was a 19 play drive. Wasn't that what they said, Rob? 19 plays, and it took 6 minutes.
6 and 6, almost 7 full minutes off the clock.
And they only went 19 yards, Iowa State. But then we stopped them, and then we turned the ball over. So, no, it wasn't the interception. It was the CeeDee fumble after the stop. So, I mean, there was, the defense did do their job. Now, Rob, you said you had some questions for me tonight, or did you ask them? Or
so we covered one of them.
Which one was it?
I don't remember, but I remember the second one. I just remember thinking, oh, we covered that. The play at Iowa State that we thought might have been pass interference, right? In the very last play of the game.
Yeah, last play of the game.
So what if instead of going for 2, they kicked the extra point, tie the ball game, and we go into OT? Do we still win that game?
I still think we do. I think we're most times in college football, the most talented team wins in overtime.
That's one of them Blinken Riley stats there, Caleb. Congratulations, because I know what you're saying. You're right, and I don't know because we hadn't done anything offensively in the fourth quarter, and we had done nothing offensively except turn it over twice.
Well, the rule is you tie at home, you go for the win on the road,
right?
But I don't know that. I mean, in the past, when we've needed it direly, we never got the stop.
Yeah.
And we couldn't get anything going offensively.
Right.
It's like we forgot how to play football in those situations. So I don't know. I heard them talking about that on the radio, and I thought, well, that'd be a good question for us to talk about. Would we still win the game if they had kicked and went for the tie?
Yeah. I don't know. I mean, I've heard everybody say, and Lincoln said it, oh, we anticipated them going for it. We thought that's what they would do. Man.
Yeah. I mean, if we kick the extra point, we can regroup. Like, all right, we know what we need to do.
Yeah.
Like, they go right there. We have one play to beat them. Instead of that, they have one play to beat OU on the road. Instead, you have to beat them multiple times on drives. Start our offense multiple times in the red zone. We didn't struggle when we got the red zone. I mean, we pretty much it's just like I said, like.
Well, this will answer why I'm not a coach of a storied program or even in Iowa State. I probably would have kicked the extra point and took my chances in overtime. I mean, just because of how I felt the game was going. You know what I mean? You had the momentum going into overtime. Get the ball first, hopefully, score, and force Oklahoma to score.
I do exactly what Matt Campbell did because they had us reeling. We were on the back of our heels, I'm pretty sure I would have went for the win.
Yeah. Caleb, what would you have done?
I went for the win. Like I always say go for a win, especially if you're underdog on the road. Even at home, you're underdog. If you're that low, I always go for the win.
What was that noise? No. Do you have any other questions for us to discuss, Rob?
Not at the moment.
Caleb, what about you? Anything that you want to?
You like people calling you Cowboy Terry now, Dad?
Oh, I had one person say that.
Well, I think it's going to call you from now on, Cowboy Terry.
No, I said you can call me Steeler Terry. That's fine. I'm good with Steeler Terry. But that is something I wanted to bring up. Maybe this will get everybody riled up. Are you surprised that the Baker Browns Oklahoma crew has not been hooting and hollering about this game Thursday night?
I don't even pay attention to them because I'm not a Steelers
Rob,
fan.
But you see all the stuff every week about Baker and stuff on Twitter and the Browns and this and Baker this and Baker that. Well, now it's the Rudolph Baker showdown in the pros.
Why aren't they pushing it?
Why aren't they talking about it? Is it because the Browns ain't any good?
I guess it's because the pros don't care.
Yeah,
about a college rivalry.
But no, I'm talking about the Sooner
Baker
Twitter,
fans.
the Baker Twitter Browns group. That you know what I mean? Are always. It just seems like
they're what 1-2 games behind us, so they win this game. They're right there.
But Pittsburgh has kind of turned a corner. I mean, they beat the Rams.
Only because of defense. I mean, the offense is garbage. It's just you got good defense.
It's not garbage.
Your offense is garbage. The defense is good.
Is
It's the only thing you got. No, your offense is garbage. You got good defense. That's the only thing.
Gee, I wonder if he thinks your offense is garbage.
I mean, Mika Fitzpatrick has scored more touchdowns than Mason Rudolph has the last 2 weeks. So I mean, your defense is good. I mean, ever since that trade for Mika Fitzpatrick, if you all make a run, he's the defense player of the year. It's not even close because he's scored I think 3 touchdowns since he's been with y'all. But I mean, I think it's. I haven't really heard much from pretty much since Baker kind of hasn't really been that good this year. That would be out loud because you can't really chirp people when he's not doing that good.
That's how it is. I got a feeling if they do win Thursday night, they'll be chirping on Friday.
You'll be chirping.
But guess what? Guess what? If the Steelers win, guess who's going to be chirping on Friday?
I mean, it's been this year. It's been the offensive line. The offensive line's fault. I think their coaching's terrible. Everyone has bad offensive line in the NFL.
Here's all I'm going to talk about with Baker and the Browns. Did I not say that was the worst place you could go?
I think the coaching is the worst.
But the problem is, but it was the coaching with the last coach. It's the ownership is the problem, and they're going to get rid of this coach, and guess what? They're going to bring in another turd, and it's not, and the same thing's going to happen. The administration, the ownership of the Browns is terrible. Their own fans, when I met them and talked to them about them wanting Baker and were excited about Baker at the draft, well, I'm talking about guys you see on TV and all the gear, that they come from Cleveland to watch the draft in Dallas, Texas, are like, we love Baker. We hope he comes here. That ain't the problem. Our ownership is terrible. And they're gonna have the right, if they can get the right coach and get the right this, get the right that.
I mean,
here we are 2 years into it, and they've got the wrong coach again.
If you don't have the right coach, I don't care who you are. If you don't have a good coach, you're not going to win.
They had Belichick back in the 90s, and they fired him.
And then they moved. And guess what? Belichick built. Guess what Belichick built? He built that Ravens defense and won that 2000 championship. Belichick built that team. So he built that championship team. So I mean, it's just it's a different owner too, because that's the Ravens owner. So I don't care who you are. If you don't have a good coach, if he doesn't know how to use you, and you're not going to win anything. So I mean, look at Lamar Jackson. If that guy, if they run the system, make him look so good as he does, make him comfortable, he wouldn't be MVP like he is this year. Like him and Russell Wilson, they're MVPs. But I mean, like I said, Browns. I think their biggest problem is get a coach. They have a good line. And he's running 4 verticals. If you guys can't block, then you shouldn't be doing that. Like everyone in the NFL has a bad line because the defense lines are that good. No. So it's just, I think, but it's gonna be interesting though because if they do win, they're right. I mean, they're right there with everyone else in the AFC, which is hilarious.
Yeah, I know. I mean the AFC is like so scrunched.
I mean, it's just like the Ravens. It's the Ravens, Houston, and Patriots.
Yeah.
I mean, the
Steelers are only like a couple of games behind the Ravens. I mean,
you guys won't catch the Ravens.
We might. We're gonna beat the Ravens.
No, okay. Ravens are good. I said Lamar Jackson's he's legitimately the MVP favorite right now. It's him or Russell.
But anyway, Thursday night, the Baker Rudolph showdown. The Steelers Who made the smarter pick that year? The Steelers or the
Browns.
Browns.
But anything else going on, guys, that we need to talk about? Anything? Would want to make any predictions of the game, or are we done predicting stuff?
I have no idea.
haven't-
I would
Baylor game?
predict.
Yeah.
I would predict, but I have no idea. Like I said, if we play our game, we should win by double digits. That's the question: is, are we gonna play our game?
I'm going to say, just like I always said, we should do what we should have done to every team this year. What we were doing, I'm holding them under 21 points. 28 points.
Which we should with Baylor.
Yeah,
They are our offensive juggernaut.
They're a good defensive team.
They play ugly. They beat you up, and they win their way.
But I want to see this defense. I'm drinking the Kool-Aid. They're going to step up. They're going to hold them to under 21 points. I'm going to say 45-17.
Wow.
We should. I mean, that should be the score if we play our game for
They
four
scored
quarters.
17 against West Virginia, and that's all they could muster. So surely we can hold them to 17.
Oh my gosh!
Oh my gosh! And then he ran into the goalpost. I'll say this, Terry: we are capable of beating them 47-17, just easy off
Yep.
the bus. 47-17. Get back on the bus, go home.
Play 4 quarters. If we play 4 quarters of basketball, that's what's going to happen.
Football.
Football. Sorry, watch a basketball game. My
We're
bad.
also capable of going in there and laying an egg and getting beat 45-14.
Yeah.
So
I don't think 45-14. I'd say 45-43 or 45-44. Yeah, I agree, but I think they're going to put it together this week. I'm not comfortable with it. I'm kind of like Lincoln.
If it's going to happen, it's going to be this week. If we're going to make a run for the playoffs and look impressive, it's going to happen this week. So
Yeah.
it has to happen.
We got to do something to jump some one-loss teams.
yeah,
I mean, if we beat them handily, I think we'll at least be ahead of Utah. We might be right there with Oregon, and then if we beat, and then if Texas beats, I don't know. If we beat OSU handily again, a rivalry game on the road, we can maybe jump Oregon because Oregon plays no one for us next 2 weeks, and then that's when we get iffy though. Is when we play against.
Well, you heard what Patterson said, didn't you? We'll know. They're asking him about Baylor's defense, and he goes, "We'll know how good Baylor's defense is when they play Oklahoma this week."
we'll know. Yeah, hopefully we will.
And then if we win this game, I'm guessing we'll be the night game because.
Well, again, Fox has announced we will play during the day or at night.
Well, it's because if Baylor wins, they want that Texas Baylor night game probably.
Which is okay with me because I don't have to work.
Yeah.
It's going to be senior night. I'm going to get to do some.
It's senior night next week.
Get to do some stuff with Rhett and the Roughnecks, and I am not working.
So you should be at the tailgate next week.
I will be at I will be doing Roughneck stuff, so probably not at the tailgate until they go into the stadium. So,
But Roughneck stuff is kind of next to us, isn't it, though?
well, I don't even know where they're lining up and stuff now. I mean, they used to line up in that parking lot just north of you guys.
Yeah.
But where are they at now? I don't know.
In the parking lot across.
Okay.
That's where they always came out for the run. You know what I
Yeah.
mean?
I'll be over there
Yeah.
until
Yeah. Somehow they pull the ponies around into that parking lot from where they have them stationary at there in the North Oval and bring them around and come out of there.
Did y'all get a Disney Plus?
No.
I did.
I'm thinking about it.
I got it. I got 10 million subscribers yesterday. I mean, I'm not surprised. You look at everyone else has it.
Yeah.
Have you watched Frozen yet?
Nah, I watched The Mandalorian last night.
Oh, that's on there?
Yeah, it's on there. Yeah, but
As soon as I get home.
yeah, man, well, it's only one episode a week, so they're doing like a TV show. But the first episode's really good, though.
Well,
It's
here's
good.
the thing: it's funny. I saw they'll, if you get all these apps now for your TV, it's like $90 a month. It's like, why don't they all get together?
Eventually, that's going to happen through Monopoly. I mean, Disney's going to have it all here pretty
Yeah,
soon.
Disney's
so, I
just
mean,
going to
it's gonna
start
be all on
buying
Disney.
everybody.
But, I
So
mean,
the only one I have that I pay for is Netflix.
Yeah, we've got Netflix and Amazon.
Amazon, yeah, Amazon.
Well,
I mean,
I'm a Prime member, so I guess
Yeah.
I got that one, but I don't.
Yeah, it comes with
I don't
the
know how to
Prime.
watch on Prime, so
Let's get the Prime Video, like Amazon Video. And if you're a Prime member, it's free.
And you've heard that Netflix is going to stop people, and I think Amazon is too, from sharing accounts. That,
Oh,
like,
really?
Try. I mean, they've already done it a little bit to see.
Yeah, that like if my daughter uses our Amazon, and well, if you don't have, they're going to be tracking where you log in from, and you can't log in except on an accepted device, or they're going to somehow connect it to your device, and you can only have so many devices.
Well, yeah, that's how it is now. You have so many devices. I think they're just cutting down how many devices you can have it on. But I mean, so I got the Disney Plus. Like so they have that Mandalorian weekly. That was one Tuesday. Come out Tuesday, then have one on Friday. Then after that, it's every Tuesday. But they have all the Disney movies on there. All the
So
Marvel
how come
movies.
you haven't watched Frozen yet?
I like Frozen. I watched X-Men TV show,
Let it go.
and then I watched Even Stevens.
I tell you a show you won't see on Disney.
Okay.
Song of the South.
I don't know what that even
Song
is.
of the South. I don't even know what that is.
You don't know? There's a bluebird on my shoulder.
Oh, that one. Yeah.
Yeah.
Zippity doo dah.
Yeah, zippity doo dah, zippity a. Song of the South. They never released it again after it because it's kind of racist.
Is it?
Yeah.
I don't know. Didn't that come out when we were kids?
Yeah, but it had the Briar Rabbit and Tar Baby.
Okay.
And so it was, but I remember watching it as a kid, and it's the old guy walking.
Yeah, there was good music.
Yeah, there was some good stuff in it, but some of the stuff that Disney did in the past, they're not doing anymore. So
good,
rightfully so.
Yeah.
But
I like it though so far. I mean, they're getting more and more stuff with it, so I enjoy it.
Hey, I met Sooner Lisa and her friends this weekend, and it was hilarious.
How'd that go, Rob?
It was hilarious. They are funny. They were cracking me up. And that's all I want to say about that.
Okay.
That's a good commercial. The bus.
Oh, the bus. That's okay. Have you seen the new Captain Obvious commercial?
No.
Have you, Caleb?
Possibly.
There's a
I don't watch commercials.
There's a lady beside the pool, and she's holding up her camera. She's a nice looking blonde lady. She's taking pictures of herself, and obviously posting them to her Instagram because there's these two ladies in there sitting next to each other on a park bench with these kids screaming and hollering behind them. It's like, how is it that she's there, or why is it that she's there and we're here? And it cuts to Captain Obvious face, and he just sits there and goes, condoms. Oh. They go, oh yeah. Or how is it that she's there and Captain Obvious goes, condoms?
I'm having trouble connecting those dots, but I'm sure it'll come to me later.
Well, they were in a park with a whole bunch of kids.
Oh, okay.
So
all right, now
they have kids.
You just connected the dots.
Yeah, you could hear the kids screaming, and they're looking, how is it that she's there and we're stuck here? Condoms. You can get whatever that hotels.com or whatever his app thing is, but Captain Obvious it was just one word, condoms.
That's a little on the edge. I'm a little all right.
Oh, but anyway, well, I guess that's it, guys. We will be at Louis tonight, since this will be out on Thursday tonight.
If you want to come talk crap to my dad, then
yeah, if y'all want to come and watch the Steelers put a beat down on the Browns, come on out to Louis on Campus Corner with us, and we'll watch a little football, talk a little Sooner football.
You gonna eat crow after the Browns beat y'all?
I will. I don't ever have to eat crow, but
if the Browns win this game, they're back in the
yeah.
They
And if the Steelers do, they are too.
I mean, Steelers already kind of are.
Yeah,
listen, none of them are beating the Patriots anyway, so might as well forget it.
Or the Ravens.
But anyway, that's it, guys. Boomer Rob.
Boomer Terry.
Boomer Caleb.
Boomer.
Thanks for listening to the Sooner Football Fans Podcast. Sooner Football Fans Podcast is hosted by Rob Nixon, Terry Long, and occasionally Caleb Long. It is produced at the beautiful Podcast Palace in Norman, Oklahoma. Follow us on Twitter at SoonerFBFans and like our Facebook page at Facebook.com/Sooner Football Fans, and visit our website at www.SoonerFootballFans.com to read our blogs and keep up with our tailgating activities. Boomer Sooner, everyone.